Hello, everyone. This is our the new edition of the MuMe Matters, in which we are discussing the importance of cultural heritage and whom we are saving it for. Because I have already spoken about this earlier. So I'm Poulomi Das. I'm the founder of Museum Memories Project, and since the beginning of this year, we have been interviewing people who are artists, designers, architects, professionals in the cultural heritage sector as what do they think in through their work cultural heritage means and who we are saving it for and how and what is their understanding, what is their journey and what is their vision plan for the future. So today I'm very happy to introduce to all of us Nanditha. Nanditha Sulur is a textile engineer and a textile designer, and she's currently based out of Bangalore. And she has, through her entire journey, experimented with various kinds of weaving across India through her studies and through her work. So, yes, welcome, Nandita.
Thank you, Poulomi. Hi, hi. So, thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
So, Nandita, we will be bombarding you with questions. So, the first question that intrigues us is, what are you up to now? Because you're always doing something interesting and new and something that's sort of out of the box. So, what all are you doing now?
Right. So, in the past, I think, uh, in the past 2 3 years, a lot of changes have happened. I think post Corona, Corona was one big factor, and beyond that, you know, the industry, people, how our lifestyles are, speeding ahead. All of these things have come into a place where, certain things have fallen into my lap, you know, uh, wantingly or unwantingly. But today I run two weaving units. One is a traditional pitloom silk weaving space where we are making saris. We have a dobby and a jacquard attached to both all the looms there. So we are making traditional silk fabrics for designers, saris, stoles, and I have tried to adapt the existing infrastructure to produce things that are relevant to today's markets, today's needs, and today's lifestyles. The other hand weaving unit is a stand loom place. It's a more new generational thing. In a sense, I'm trying to find out whether handlooms can exist in today's age, where people have certain formats of livelihoods, and certain older formats of livelihoods do not hold good anymore. Like I have women, young women who have children who are going to school who come to weave with me, and we are not set in a village. Ours is a non-traditional weaving cluster, in a sense that as Bangalore developed, there was a center for the weavers, which became very dense, and all the weavers have relocated. Weavers who have been looking for opportunities and have been coming to Bangalore, they've created 6 or 7 weavers localities on the outskirts of Bangalore where real estate is cheaper. And Gottigere Weavers Colony is where I'm based out of, and that is one of the new age weavers clusters in the outskirts of Bangalore. So here we have, traditional weavers who have relocated from other traditional clusters and have all made Gottigere Weavers Colony their house. And it's like a pot boiler in a sense where ideas are exchanged, methodologies are discussed, So you have, two weaver friends probably coming from two different traditional clusters saying, hey, I know how to do this better, I'll teach you. And he in return, wants to teach the other weaver another technique probably from his. So it's a sprawling place where, work is happening in abundance. Yes, power looms have taken over. I think the majority of it is about 90% to 95% of the weavers colony today has power looms. A few of them who either due to circumstances or out of choice have, held on to handlooms. Now, why they are still weaving using a handloom where you have easier options available are some of the fascinating aspects that I have been, discovering as I have gone along my journey.
So to interrupt you, Nandita, there might be people listening to the video who don't understand the difference between a hand loom and a power loom. Could you
Right.
quickly explain?
So, okay. So if I may, try to capture the essence. There was a time when man did not know how to weave. He was probably covering himself up with leaves and, skins of animals. Slowly, as humans evolved, weaving was discovered at a certain period of time. Now, I'm not going to delve into the histories of it, but I'm imagining that they found the weaver bird, saw how it is weaving its nest, and figured that they can also weave. Cotton is a plant where fibers are available. There's enough inspiration in nature, which, from which man could have figured out how to create cloth. And the earliest concoctions of how to make fabric would probably have been a square or a frame loom, just a rectangular wooden piece on which you would, of course, first, how to create thread, and then, putting it onto a very basic structure to be able to weave. As we developed, the hand weaving skill itself got more and more advanced. And sometime in the beginning of 18th century, as industrialization, you developed steel and figured out a lot of other things. Power looms were developed, where, something that was very laborious and, work intensive got a little easier. Again, I don't think it happened overnight. It is a process of evolution, where today we are sitting with a lot of advanced looms like the rapiers and the air jet looms, the water jet looms, multi-phase weaving, where the production of, I mean, the rate at which you're creating fabric is multifold. So I think India today, you can see handlooms, the most basic handlooms, the frame looms where you have the in, I think in the Northeast they still practice that, where you tie yourself to a tree and the human body is one side of the equipment, a tree is on the other side of the equipment, and you weave narrow width fabrics. And you have the other advanced hand weaving techniques that you see, all over India. You have Kanchipuram, you have Banaras, you have, I think every region has its own traditional cluster where they have been creating fabrics for local consumption. On the other hand, you have, the industries which are, not exactly very advanced, but still, like we have the power looms in Weavers Colony, where it's a basic power loom, and jacquards, dobbies, tappets, drop box, all of these, other design creating attachments are there. And you have the new age industry also, where uh, rapiers, airjet looms, and very advanced power looms are there, where you are weaving wide width fabric at a very high rate. So if you want to compare the productivity of each of these machines, a hand loom can create anything between half a meter until 8 meters, depending on the complexity of the design. A power loom on an average can produce between a regular shuttled power loom can produce anything between 30 meters to 60 meters a day. I'm giving very ballpark figures. The advanced machinery, they go up to 200 300 meters per day. The multi-phase looms, I think, are the most efficient, where you can create a lot of fabric in a very short period of time. Now, again, all of these systems of creating fabric all come with their pros and cons. All come with their pros and cons.
So,
So we have, I work only with handlooms, and our entire system around it is based on that.
so Nandita, you are a textile engineer and then you study textile design. So do
Yes.
you look at textiles? Do you look at fabrics? Do you look at looms in a different manner? And you concentrate in weaving, right? That's your focus area.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So when you are looking at a fabric, like you were explaining to me, that you can actually figure out how the fabric has been made, right? So has the textile engineering part helped you, and has it been a challenge at some times? What about the textile design? I'm also asking you this and keeping in mind that there are students who might be, in the audience there to
Right.
this
Right. Right.
discussion.
Right.
And what has
So
been your journey as because to the audience, Nandita and I have been friends since going to be nearly 25 years. So she had been one of the first few designers to go to Fulia in West Bengal when Fulia was still a very uh, traditional, conventional space for weaving for Bengal handloom saris. And now Fulia is like all over the place. Everybody knows Fulia. There are craft tours, cultural tours to Fulia, and there are many weavers, many colors, many kinds of not just saris but other even furnishings and all that are made there. So, Nandita, would
right.
you tell us about the
Right. Right.
journey?
So somehow I have always been fascinated by fabric. So as I was a kid, I very vividly remember I had a shawl which I used to use to cover myself when I was sleeping, and I think that shawl was a silk and a wool blend, and somebody had gifted it to my grandmother. I think somebody coming back from the northern part of India, Kashmir, I think, and single color, lovely texture. And I have used that shawl for almost 15 years, like every night. I would not be able to sleep without that shawl. And just that aspect of how a fabric can how it becomes a part of you, it becomes a part of your lifestyle. Where I remember when we would travel, and that used to be one of the first things that would get packed, and so much that I would not be able to sleep in the night if that particular shawl was not there. So so I have been intrigued by how people carry or own certain fabric, certain pieces of fabric, certain textiles, where it becomes a part of their life, and how it defines them. They start defining it, they own it, they age with it, and it kind of, you know, it kind of grows with you and ages with you, and brings you along, helps you along your journey. Lots of examples like that, where some fabrics grip you, some fabrics don't. I have I have two daughters now who, if they don't like a piece of clothing, they will absolutely refuse to wear it. And I think, I mean, my generation, a lot of us, the kind of fabrics that we used were, I mean, if you look at the volumes, were much less. Today, we are, there's just so much we have produced, so much we have produced, that it becomes a little hard. It's like, cacophony happening all over the place, where, there's so much noise that you're not able to listen to, tunes or, uh, you know, uh, some of the beautiful music that is being presented to you. So, being fascinated by textiles, I decided to do engineering. So, a contact who had come to our house told me about design NID. And in those days, we did not have internet. So, I wrote a letter to NID. NID promptly sent me back a physical brochure. And, after having read through all the courses, textile design was something that I was excited about. My father at that stage was not ready to allow me to go and do a diploma. So he said degree is still, better. So I think it was his way of convincing me to stay on in Bangalore until I finished my degree. So under textile design, what were the prerequisites if you want to do a post graduation in NID was textile design, home science, textile chemistry, and all of that. So I went to the textile engineering college, which is in Bangalore, and that was the first time I saw a jacquard loom. And I was absolutely enthralled. I was like, this is what I want to do. So that's how textile engineering happened. So through textile engineering, I had no idea about any of this, cultural heritage that we had, this rich hand weaving tradition that we had, the traditional textiles that were being used around, no idea. So we were learning about it from, the European eyes, where you're studying about all the looms, the big developments that have happened in Manchester and, airjet looms. And wow, it's amazing that technology has developed so much. Post engineering, I think it was only after I started studying textile design with NID that, I even got to know of this entire, this what khazana of wealth that our traditional weaving techniques have. And yeah, so then one thing led to the other. And what you slowly realize is that there are some things which, can't be seen, can't be said, can't be explained, where the handloom is offering to you all of those things, but the power loom is not. So this I think, when there's more life in a hand woven piece than in a machine made fabric. So it's if you want to very put it in very layman's terms, it is something that you have made with your hand and something that a machine has made for you. So there's obviously a little more to something that's been handmade versus something that has been machine made. The machine made, again, a machine is creating 10,000 meters. And who is eventually going to wear those 10,000 meters being made into whatever shirts, pants? And it does not, there's no human connection to it. But with a handloom where every piece is being made by a human person, of course there's some amount of detailing which is there. And yeah, and the fabric itself that comes out has some kind of a life to it. It is there. I think only once you experience a handloom fabric for some time, it's like, you'll have to become so sensitive to be able to appreciate, those kind of things. For somebody who has always worn a polyester, fabric through their lives, you give them, cotton and a polyester, they probably won't be able to make out the difference. But for somebody who's been wearing only cotton for all their lives, you give them a polyester shirt, they'll be instantly able to make out that this thing is not right. It's somewhere there. So handlooms have always fascinated me. They have been something that are close to my heart. And the more I get to know, the more I see, the lifestyles that surround a hand weaving profession is much better than, somebody going to a mill, working there and coming back. All the other, there are so many other parameters where, a power loom is very, very noisy. It's extremely noisy. So for some human being who is standing in front of a power loom, listening to so much noise through the day, when he comes back home to his family, I can't even imagine what state of mind he is going to be. Maybe he's like, I don't want anybody, just let me, lock me up in a room and let me be. versus a handloom weaver where he has been weaving with to this music all the day. And when he goes back to his house, his mind state is in a very different place altogether. So the lifestyles, the not only lifestyles, the entire systems that are set around a hand weaving profession are all very beautiful.
So,
So I can see, yeah.
sorry.
So I can see the difference where I have a traditional pitloom space. My weavers come in early in the morning by 5:36 before dawn happens. They come weave until they feel hungry for breakfast. Then they go have breakfast at theirs. They usually live close by. And this is one more thing. Weavers don't like, commute. So commute is definitely out of the equation. Either the pitloom is inside the house or 2 roads away or 3 roads away. So the weaver goes back, has breakfast, comes back, weaves until he feels hungry for lunch, and eats lunch, takes a nap, comes back, weaves until 4:35, until the time he feels, that today's day is done. And the other place where we have a new age weaving uh, place, there I have young women who come. So there again, I have not rigidly fixed times, but on an average, the women, wake up, get their children ready, send them to school, come to weave by 9:30, 10, and they all pack lunch, carry lunch. So this is a little towards the industrialized working format kind of a thing. They have lunch together. They weave until 5:30, 6, and go back home. So again, both are they have their own pros and cons. And these people like it like this. These people like it like this. So that's how the two
But
places
they
are.
both are handlooms, right?
Yeah, both are handlooms.
So,
Handlooms.
coming to that, you are now focused on two different kinds of enterprises.
Right.
So, you started as a textile engineer because you were curious to learn about fabric, which had
Yes.
a personal connection to you in your life. You know, it's a shawl
Right.
that your grandmother gave you. And then from there, you went on to become a designer, and then you worked at many places. You've lived outside India also for some period where you had a objectivity, a different way of looking at Indian
Right. Right.
textiles. Uh, there are lots of Indian textiles in very big museums in the US. So when you
True.
are right now working, you said you have these two different enterprises. So as a entrepreneur, there are lots of challenges. So how do you sort of divide your time and your interest and first, tell us about these two enterprises and then, let
Right.
us know
Right.
that.
And they happen. Yeah. So I was one of the normal textile designers working for corporate making. So I used to be a print designer before. And then there was a job description for somebody. This was a Netherlands-based company. They were looking for somebody who could set up a hand weaving unit and do research and development with recycled textiles. So that was something I did for uh, the 4 or 5 years before I set up these two units. So that was the time when I got to know that there's a hand weaving, cluster in Bangalore, where for me, as I have been seeing it, I have only visited the traditional clusters and I had no idea that cities could have a hand weaving cluster or a power loom cluster. And for me, it was like, oh wow, that, there's a weavers colony on the outskirts of Bangalore where it's a sprawling place. All sorts of works are, all sorts of weaving activities happening, dyeing is happening, there are warpers, knotters. So everybody in the weavers colony is doing something related to weaving. So the carpenters, the welders, everybody there are, they have adapted themselves to what the weavers want. So for me, of the fact that there's a weavers colony in Bangalore was like, wow. And, as if, talking to people, finding out how this weavers colony, started, developed. So I think This particular weavers colony started sometime in the 1990s to 2000. That decade was where it developed. Of course, there were a lot of handlooms now which have all switched to power looms. Handlooms pay lesser than what a power loom does. So a lot of hand weavers have, they don't want their children to come back into the hand weaving profession. And somewhere inside they look down upon the profession where, it's not paying well and there are no takers for it. So they don't want the next generation to come into it. It's if I may put it, where you need 10 saris, a power loom has made 1,000 saris. The 10 saris that are being made by hand are a little more pricey than the other 1,000 power loom made saris. So eventually the market where you have a certain demand has shifted to the lower priced power loom produce. So there were no takers for hand weavers. So I've heard stories where hand weavers would have a, a waiting list outside their house for what sari they're going to make next. So when people would come, give them 100% advance and say, "Hey, my daughter is getting married. The next sari that comes out of your loom is booked for me. Whatever it is, whatever color, design, 100% advance. They want the next sari." So this is that time where production and demand. Production was still either a little lesser or on par with demand. Fast forward to today's age where you have merchants in the central in Avenue Road who are pitching two weavers against each other. So one weaver is giving him, this is the sari that I have made, and the person is looking at the other weaver's sari, and he has basically pitched the two weavers against themselves. So they have come down to a place where they are ready to give the sari for a very low price. And eventually, slowly they've all spiraled downwards into debt cycles and not being able to save enough, not enough awareness with the new age, the insurances of the world, where they don't realize the value of it. So they I think a lot of work in terms of financial awareness and the importance of planning for it. I have, at least with the workers that I have been, with the viewers that I have been working, I have been, trying to tell them, I get them an insurance annually and tell them that, hey, you have to save, don't get into this debt cycle and stuff. But yeah, so hand weaving as a profession has been something which has, uh, taken the toll because of the way the market has treated them, and also the abundance of overproduction.
So tell about your two enterprises.
Right. So after the 4 years of research and development completed, Corona happened, and beyond Corona, a lot of those traditional pitloom spaces had stopped functioning, as in the merchant had stopped giving money or material for the weavers. So a lot of weavers were out of work, especially the hand weavers. The power loom guys were still, managing with whatever they had made. They were able to sell a few of it and manage, but the hand weavers had like no work. So I wanted to do, chip in whatever 2 cents that I could do. So I rented one pitloom space and started giving work. So I started with just two looms, two weavers. And I knew I could not, take on all of them. So just two was where I started. And I started giving two weavers continuous work. So it's been about 3 years that we have been making saris. So when I started this weaving unit, I did not want to change anything that was already there, right from the systems or the equipment or the designs, none of it. So my change has happened slowly and in a phased manner. Like when I took over the weaving unit, I did not make any design changes. I wanted to see first what the existing setup is going to give me.
So
So
that's
the
Indu
jacquards have
Silks.
Say that again.
That's Indu Silks.
Indu Silks. Yes, this is the Indu Silk space. So, initially with the same design, I only tweaked with the layout, with the placement of the motifs, or, borders I have extensively tried. So the borders, we have what is called a dobby. And we have, let me show you some of our, products that we have made. So we experimented heavily with very small borders. This is a stole that we have made. This is a silk stole. And I think I hope you can see the border. So the border is about quarter an inch. It's a very thin line. And I think the market is filled with stuff which are, loud in the face kind of aesthetics, where you have like a very, heavy use of the shine element. So here, I started with the smallest borders, and we've experimented a lot with simple thin borders and with whatever available motifs. So basically the sari has three parts, like the pallu, the border, and I will show you one more sari. So this is one of our motifs, and the placement of these motifs is also something we have played a lot with. This is the pallu. Okay, so we have played a lot with the placements, color combinations. So this is one of the saris which does not have a border, and it only has booties. The sari that I am wearing has a very thin, let me show you. So this is the size of the border. So most of our borders are between a quarter inch to 1 inch. A few saris we have made which have a 2-inch border. I think nothing beyond that. So this is one thing all of my customers have, people who are looking for a subtle, more muted or a slightly more elegant, if I may say, aesthetics, they are my clients.
So, Nandita, now you tell us about the AGOWIG part of your work. So, you have these two enterprises. One is Bangalore Soft Silks, which produces lightweight, minimalist kind of designed saris and stoles, right?
Right.
What is the other enterprise that you have? It's called AGOWIG. Tell us all about it. All waiting to know.
So I think about 6 months, 6 months after I started Indu Silks, the earlier company where I did research and development unfortunately closed down. So there was this group of weavers that I had trained personally for a period of five years. They had learned how to weave using recycled yarns, and I had trained them with, drafting, denting, weaving, how to check quality, what are the, basically how to run a textile hand weaving unit. So I had these trained weavers suddenly out of work, and so they all, they've been reaching out to me saying, "Madam, start something. We'll all come to work with you." And once that company closed down, so I, somewhere inside felt that, I should not let that 5 years of, work go to waste. So we found a place, and in about a year, with a bit of, searching, planning, all of that, I conceptualized AGOWIG. So AGOWIG is the acronym for a group of weavers in Gottigere. There, I have young women who have taken up hand weaving as a profession, as a livelihood giving job. These girls, they like weaving, and for them, so they belong to the hand weaving community, but they have never actually worked for an organization or an enterprise apart from the earlier place before. So yeah, we joined hands. We found a place, and about a year and a half back, we rented a space. And today we have 4 looms there, where we are supplying fabrics to different clients, brands, designers. So most of our clientele are those people who are looking for sustainable fabrics, where we specialize with recycled. So recycled again has its own you know varieties, and they come with their own characteristics. They come with their own pros and cons, and we have been working around those constraints and creating fabrics using recycled yarns for clients. There, women usually, at least these women, they're like, we don't like pit looms. So they, if I told them you come join Indu Silks, they were like, no, I don't like getting into the pit. And for them, they've been used to the stand looms, and so they have a different set of skills, where we have learned how to weave twill structure, which is a 3 up, 1 down twill. So we have 4 shafts, and we've played around a lot with drafting, denting, and different varieties of construction. In AGOWIG, warping is under us. In Indu Silks, warping is outsourced, where it is a silk warp that the warping vendor makes for us. In AGOWIG, we make our own warp, and that gives us a lot of freedom to create what different kinds of fabrics we want. So we have heavily experimented with post-industrial recycled, post-consumer recycled, spun silk, different counts, organic cotton, linen, and pretty much that's it. And we have one category of recycled yarns which has a polyester component. So apart from that, we have not used synthetic yarns. Now we have tied up. So there's a textile recovery facility close to our place. So where from there we get cut scraps of fabric, and we have started weaving those into mats and different kind of jackets, bags. So clients make those kind of products out of those. So that is mixed material, where the cut piece of fabric could be anything. It could be nylon, it could be polyester. So apart from that, we have not used synthetics in our unit. We have one fabric which is a recycled denim. This has been one of our fabrics which a lot of clients are excited about. So this is 100% recycled fabric, which is a 60% cotton recycled and 40% polyester recycled. We have one more category which is 100% cotton, but only 30% of it is recycled. So that category can be dyed, and we have some fabrics where we have used dyed yarns and created 100% cotton. Again, characteristics of these yarns are different from the virgin counterparts. Their pilling is higher. They're a little fuzzy. Contaminants will be there. So for clients, it's a lot of explanation, and telling them that these are some of the parameters that we cannot avoid because of its nature. So we have also experimented with rugs.
So you are simultaneously educating the client about
Right.
inherent components of this. So if they are buying fabric from you, it's not just that they are doing something for the planet and their bit for sustainability, but it comes with these components. So they will have to understand that it's not a compromise. Yeah. So it's not a compromise, but this is what you get when you're looking at, fabric that's made out of yarn that has been made out of stuff from the textile. What did they call it? Textile, what unit? Waste.
Textile recovery facility.
Textile recovery facility. So that's a new term. I'm definitely not familiar with it. I don't know if it's there in different parts of India, or is it something else in
Bengaluru? So I think as overproduction is equal to excess waste generation, and landfills are also clogged. I think people have started realizing that throwing things into a landfill is the worst way you can do anything. So with cloth, there are a lot of categories. Once you're sorting it, if you're able to give the used textile in a clean, good condition, they will do the sorting and send it to the particular recycler. And all textiles cannot be recycled in the same manner. So you have different units taking different specific waste. So the textile recovery facility where I can go today and donate waste clothes or clothes that I'm not using anymore. So they have a system of, initially if it's a new garment or near to new, which can be reused, they keep it for a second hand sale. If it is, absolutely not good, then there's a next step where all the buttons, the zippers, the disruptors which do not allow shredding of the fabric to happen are all removed, separated, and then they are color sorted, material sorted, and sent to those particular facilities. So facilities like these are cropping up in India, but systems still have to be set. Awareness has to be generated, and systems have to be set. Where I think we are at an abysmal, like a very low, recovery and recycling percentage, where we'll have to drive that up. Yeah, use and throw culture is there, but at least once you throw it, make sure that it gets its logical ending. And yeah, so I'll
So,
show you some of the
yeah,
other
sure.
interesting
This
fabrics
is
that
very
we have
interesting.
created.
Open it
This
and
is a
show,
high
na?
twist.
Huh.
This is a high twist. So we've used high twist in the weft where we've done a cotton crepe. And this is one more fabric, which is a cotton and a spun silk blend, where there's a texture
Oh,
and
lovely.
again
Yeah,
light. I
yeah,
would know how to. Yeah, can you see the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
transparency?
yeah.
Yeah. So checks like this. So the women, when once they're weaving it, they see that hey, these two, in combined in this particular manner is resulting in this. So then they come back to me with ideas and say, hey, can we do this? So there are so many times where we have a remaining bobbins or yarns. So I tell the weavers that you make your own plan and make the next batch of fabrics. So then they come up with their own
So, how many
designs.
women and what's the age range in AGOWIG, the
In
weavers?
AGOWIG, I think the youngest girl just had her second baby, so she is probably 30, 32. And the oldest is probably 55, 56.
And how
And
many are there?
most of them are between 40 and 45. Young children who are going to school, and so they also are, balancing both
Yeah,
house
so
and.
tell us about that. So when they see you as a woman, as a mother of two girls, who is putting in her own time and energy and balancing, work and personal life. Um, you were also talking about that for a lot of women, it's just not just a space of which gives them income, which is new to some of them, but also where they can unwind and relax. So you
True.
yourself, so again, for a lot of people who don't know, Nanditha is a very accomplished flute player, and very few people have had the honor of hearing her play. But she's always had this passion and the skill to bring rhythm and balance in whatever she does in terms of design. So, does how do you? I mean, that of course must be flowing into your enterprises. But for these women, especially, you were saying that this thing weaving is relaxing, and they see each other, they talk, and then they forget the burden,
Yes,
the
yes.
miseries of
For
life.
So human being at the end of it is a social animal, right? You can't live in isolation. I mean, you need to get to a certain spiritual advanced level to be able to do that. But women who come here to weave, they all they take pride in the fact that they finish their housework, get ready, and come to a place to do something meaningful, to do something fun, to do something exciting. And a lot of the women, they tell me that for us, the weaving space is more inviting than my house. And they tell me in Kannada that, Madam, namig ille jasti ishta agate. And peace of mind is something that they find in the weaving unit. And I have kept the atmosphere uh, non-competitive, in the sense that, as much as possible, I plan for all the orders and say that if it takes a day to weave 4 meters, I might very rarely push them to weave maybe 4.5 meters per day, but not beyond that. And they're very, culturally uh, grounded, where they want to celebrate all festivals, they want to attend all, functions, they want to do, celebrate festivals. And so there are a lot of these over the period of a year, where they are like jatre. So when they have their the local festival, I tell all of them to go and enjoy and come. So for them it is as much, so life is as important as work. Celebrating life is as important as celebrating work. So women there, yes,
Very organic, right?
we have targets, where before I take an order, I discuss with the viewers and say, hey, this is the, timeline that the client is asking for. Are you okay with it? And the women usually are very excited about it. And the fact that we've just started, when a new order comes in, there's a lot of, there's a lot of happiness that goes around. And for us, we have, because they have seen the earlier company shut down, so we know what it means that there's an order that has come in and there's continuous work in the unit. But at the same time, it's not turned into donkey work where you're like, slogging away continuously. We take 2 chai breaks, one in the afternoon and one in the morning. So for me, because it's physical work, you can't do continuous physical work for beyond a certain extended period of time. So they start weaving by 9. So there are women who want to weave early, so they have come in by 8:39, and they eat breakfast in the weaving unit itself. They all, sit in a circle and eat breakfast. Then about 11 o'clock is when the chai break is. So they all, come sit, joke around, tease each other, have a cup of tea, get back to work. Lunch break again is, we all sit in a circle, they share what they have brought, and there's a lot of, talking and laughter. And yeah, all of these other parameters, where, I tell them that I'm not going to compromise, where, there's a defect, like a thread has gotten cut and you don't fix it. So those kind of things, they have all been trained for. It's been so long that we worked together, right? So they do not. So I merely don't need to quality check the fabric, so it's done as a formality. So the weaver themselves come and tell me that there is this defect that is there here. And then I have to mark it and send it to the client saying that this defect is there. But mostly, the fabric is really good. Women are very happy, creating that kind of a fabric. And there's a certain amount of excitement usually when a new design is happening, and we are trying out, before we start the warp, we try out 2-3 patterns and see which one is the best. So then I call all of them and say, hey, select which one do you think is the best. So things like these give them that sense of ownership, and the the fact that they're also their thinking is also valued. And when clients send me photographs of the final products, or what our fabric has become into, I show those images back to the viewers. That also makes them very
You were
happy.
saying that, if there's some fabric that's been turned into a garment that's on a ramp or a fashion show,
Yes,
you show it them.
on the websites of clients, I show
Mm.
it to them, and they are extremely happy. They're extremely happy. So that kind of drives them into, continuing to do the work.
So then what you have ensured is that weaving for them is not a profession, but it's something that's embedded in their, lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yes.
Right? So it's like they eat, they cook, they sleep,
And they have to
they
weave.
also
Yeah.
weave. Yeah.
So the weavers tell me that, any day that I don't weave, I kind of feel that I've not done something today.
Wow. So that's
They
remarkable. That's very important also, because in a world which is so highly stressed, there's climate change, there was COVID, pandemic, wars, displacement, migration, and especially for a younger generation at this time today, because I'm also concerned, been working, trying to make museums and heritage spaces more accessible and inclusive. We are constantly being told by organizations like WHO, World Health Organization, and all that, the number of depressed people in the world has increased. So maybe in the future you can think of opening, maybe making one loom available for people who are not from
Right.
a weaving community, but who can book a time, who can book a slot, and then they come and weave, and they can just be in that space, which is already,
Yes.
you've ensured it's a happy and safe space. And not just for
Mhm.
women, because if the woman is happy, she takes back that to her home, so that also impacts the immediate surroundings, right?
Right.
So we come to the end of the discussion. Something that you have told me when we spoke earlier is that there are people who buy fabrics from you, from both AGOWIG and Indu Silks. And you were saying that though words like, sustainability, climate change, organic, handmade, handloom, and all are very much in vogue, the actual understanding of it is different. Like people, they'll say slow fashion, but they will still expect you that the fabric that you give them is in keeping with something that's not technically slow fashion. Could you just explain that a bit?
So in my yeah, sustainability has become the hottest word in the past, I think 2 3 years. And again, very very frankly, I have started viewing things on a scale, like you have a quality chart or you get marks out of 100. So just like that, I have started viewing sustainability on a scale 0 to 100. Zero is the most unsustainable and 100 is the most sustainable. Okay. So what is 100? 100 is not possible. Absolutely not possible. So if you want to live an Aghori life, go to the Himalayas and survive on, sustain yourself on only those things that even an ant will not eat, or if nothing else will consume it. I think that is 100 sustainability, where you are not consuming anything. And I think Hindu, or more than Hindu, the Indian philosophy of doing things is has been leave no trace. So we have lived in India for so many hundreds of years, where most of our lifestyles would not leave a trace behind, where even our traditional houses can be dismantled and re-put someplace else. So in during my trip to Guledgudda last week, I saw one house where those stone squares were dismantled, and they had piled it and kept. So for them to create a new house, they are going to be using the same set of stones, which makes so much sense. And I think we have somewhere lost our that leave no trace philosophy, and we are just going and consuming and rummaging and using up a lot of resources which are not required. So on that sustainability scale, when you say organic cotton or when you say recycled yarn, so I will not be able to say that yes, this is completely sustainable. So again, you have a lot of parameters you're looking at, its water footprint, its carbon footprint, how it is made, what how it is being dyed, what your commercialities are, are we going to be able to survive doing that particular work. So a lot of other parameters, where for me sustainability today has a lot of layers to it, and it's very difficult to pinpoint and say yes. It's a very blanket statement saying yes, these are sustainable yarns, but it's not, I think that's a very shallow way of looking at it. So if you actually get down into the details of it and find out, what it is, where it is coming from, what has its journey been, what all damages has it done, or what all advantages, what all, positive things has it given to the earth, all of those things. I think for me, the highest of all is the fact that we are slow manufacturers, that we can't create too much, and the fact that the women working there or the men working here in the other weaving unit, their mental states are happy. That is one, according to me, one of the high points of what I have been able to do so far. And yeah, you're consuming, the fact that we are making fabric makes us not sustainable. So if I really wanted to be sustainable, we would have all had to sit and meditate continuously. But having said that, we also have this responsibility of passing on what we have received from so many generations, this tradition that has evolved over so many years, and passing it on to the next generation, which is again a critical thing. So these weaving spaces, you need a lifetime to learn it. Like a weaver who has learned from his father, grandfather, has a certain skill set which today a degree holder cannot suddenly imbibe overnight. So if I put a degree holder along with the weaver, he will need at least 5 to 6 years to be able to come to that level of that level of understanding and know-how and uh,
Skill.
workability. Okay, so it's not. I mean, it's not as easy. And this is one more thing where I have been noticing is that people who have done one thing right from the beginning of their lives till the end of it, their advance, I mean, the rate at which they advance is so much, higher than people who come and say, okay, I'll do this for 1 year, then I'll go do something else for 1 more year, maybe 5 years. So it's I see a person who's been weaving all his life, so he is able to see weaving with such a bird's eye view, and he is able to come up with solutions. He's able to find out methods of working around constraints or whatever. The why they are creating a certain design, how they are creating it is all very it's all outlined. So the newer generation, I feel sad that yes, in the villages we do have these systems still set in place, where child right from the beginning is I mean, it's growing up in that atmosphere and has so much to learn from. And yeah, only so much is what I can bring about a change, or somebody else can bring about a change, but it's the larger I think the larger collective force which has to push things away from dying.
So, there is obviously a very strong philosophy behind both your enterprises, and it's not just providing, empowerment and sustainability, economic sustainability, and generating employment using traditional systems, but you are also, as the UN Sustainable Goals, connecting to that at multiple levels. So, what is the future and what is the vision that you have for both
The
the
prices.
enterprises?
Yeah, so for me, I want more people to experience Indu Silks. I want, more people to experience the, different designs, the different fabrics that AGOWIG creates. And when I think of the future, I'm not necessarily thinking in terms of I'll have a large place, I'll have so many more looms. So for me, at this stage, I'm more than happy, continuing to create newer designs in the three looms that I have started with Indu Silks, and continuing to give continuous work for the viewers where they have some kind of stability in their lives. And I think as we go ahead, I want to, rise on the complexity ladder where, their skill sets improve. Maybe we'll, put a jacquard, dobby, and create more structures on the stand looms. And I want advancement to happen in terms of quality and not quantity, if I may say that. And yeah, and to, have more fun events for the weavers where, in the last 1 year it's been a lot of work, and we are, still finding our ground. So I think from this year onwards we'll start finding times and spaces to, go on a trip maybe, or visit one traditional weaving cluster, take them on a trip. So these kind of things is what, when I think of the future, those are the kind of things that I want to do with the viewers.
So basically, your weavers are your family, in a way.
Yes, yes.
So Nandita, it's wonderful talking to you, and it's really remarkable the work you're doing, and definitely wishing you all the success in the world so that it's not just like you said, people get to touch and feel the work that is produced at Indu Silks and AGOWIG, but also in their own ways, people are making a change if they are part of this extended family.
True.
And for everyone, both Indu Silks and AGOWIG are on Instagram. So please look them up, and we hope for more, engagements with, you, Nandita. And also, I mean, now that we are in two different cities, but hope to meet, I really would like to meet your weavers and talk to them, and, the happiness factor that we talk of.
Yes.
It's very difficult to actually spread it in a group of people who are doing such extreme hard manual labor, and
True.
not to call it labor but to make it a part of their life. And but that's, like you rightly said, that's what Indian philosophy was, not just to leave no trace but also do small things, little things, and get a sense of joy out of it. So, like, because I'm talking to you, I'm wearing this kaftan that I got made from gamchas, So these gamchas are made in Bengal, which are used basically to wipe the body after taking a bath. But I've been fascinated with them, and my tailor was very shocked. He was like, "Couldn't you get like better fabric? You're asking me to do this." But then after it was made, he was quite happy. So, a fabric or a textile made in a loom is not just about, a production. It's about so many other stories that get entrenched in it. And we hope to carry forward this. And it has been a real pleasure to hear your perspectives and your about your work. And since you don't talk much about your work, it's really exciting also to
Absolutely.
learn of all the things that you're doing.
Absolutely. And I would say a big thank you for, giving me a platform to talk, and, for me also to think and, process a lot of parameters. So a big thank you to you. And it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Nandita. Thank you. Bye, everyone. See you soon.